Hello. Hello?
Commissioner Russell,
Yeah, this is he.
we're going to get started in just a couple minutes. We got a couple more to get online.
Okay, sounds good.
Hello.
Hey, Commissioner Wobbly.
Hi. How are you?
Doing well. We're fixing to get started in just a second.
Yeah, July 7th. So, 7th.
Commissioner Thomas, are you on?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Okay, we are just fixing to get started.
Is this on? Okay. The chair states quorum, so let's call the Thursday.
This conference will now be recorded.
Sorry, Chip. The chair states quorum, so let's go ahead and start the Thursday, June 2nd. Into order, and let's go over the approval of the minutes from the last meeting.
Commissioner, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes from the last meeting.
I'll second that,
Second.
Commissioner.
Okay, we have a motion on the table to approve the minutes from the last meeting. And a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, let's move on down to the notice items. Permit 97.
The only notice item we have today is permit 97 Bloom Medicinals is changing in Tex Art CV LLC doing business as Super Farm.
Since notice items aren't to be voted on. Let's move on down to transfer of location.
The transfer of location is for permit 309, a Kansas Health Group, and they are seeking to move from McConnell Street in Fayetteville to West Drake Street. They provided us a copy of the survey and the statement that they are outside of the requirements for the schools, daycares, and mental disability facilities.
Does staff have any issues with that, or the Attorney General's office, do you guys have any issues?
Yes, sorry.
Now, let's go ahead and get Michael and Mr. Bynum up here today.
There are, Mr. Chairman, Doug House with the Attorney General's office. There are a couple of issues on this that I think leaves a chink in the commission's armor if they approve this. As we know, the commission's actions are closely monitored by various members of the public. So I want, it's the Attorney General's position, we want all the T's crossed and I's dotted. One place in the documents, the person who signed the application is listed as CEO. Another place, she is identified as the COO, Chief Operating Officer. Now, you go to the LLC agreement and you find in one place where general manager has authority to do something, then you go in another place, it looks like it requires an affirmative vote of the LLC members and owners, 51% or 50% plus one vote for that person to do anything, make a major decision. So with that understanding, here's the scenario. If something goes sideways in this deal, and this is something that I talked to council about. If this deal goes bad, then that leaves the owners in a position where they can say, hey, we didn't authorize this person to do it. Here's our agreement. It says we had to have a majority vote. So that's a T that I think needs to be crossed. The other item is they actually don't own the property. It's under an assignment of a contract for sale. That in of itself, I think, is okay if the deal is finally consummated. But I think as anybody that's ever dealt with any real estate is concerned, sometimes deals don't close. And I think it would behoove the commission to, if they will, bless bless on the basis of a contingency that in order for this location to be changed, the deal has to be consummated. The land deal has to be closed so that they actually own the place. As it is, a person in the beneficial change of title, and it's getting a little bit technical. If you own a piece of property and have a deed to it, you are the legal owner and beneficial owner. If you sign a contract for sale, you have in effect made the new buyer a beneficial owner. They have certain rights, even though they don't have legal title. Well, a previous, the person on the original contract for sale is also a dispensary holder. There is a scenario that is capable of understanding that if the deal doesn't go through, then that dispensary owner would be in a position where he owned two dispensaries, which of course is contrary to the Constitution. So I would advise the commission to consider, yes, your deal looks good, everything else is okay with you, but it's contingent upon you concluding closing on the sale of this land and getting these other people completely out of it.
Okay. Do you guys have any comments?
Yeah, I mean, I think that is, obviously, that's the intent here. First of all, it's on the, I went with first with the intent of the power for the manager of the LLC to sign the contract. is that there, it's a good point, there is probably a conflict in our operating agreement that says at one point she says she can sign all contracts. And another point it says that there's has to be 51% of the membership to approve the purchase of this. I guess I could make the argument that the property has not been purchased yet before it's actually closed, which I consider the closing of a piece of property, the actual purchase of it. That would be all the consents would be done at that time. And I guess with the respect to the other issue on the suit.
There was one with a CEO and a COO mentioned. Is she both or is she?
It's my understanding she's both. She runs both of them. So she is the main person that runs the business. And I think that what was the last issue? There's another issue that.
When is the sale supposed to be finalized? Just ballpark.
Oh, yeah.
Like if we approve this for contingency, then we want to clean up the CEO and CEO issue and just say, we approved upon, I guess, the sale of the property. Just basically put an asterisk by it until.
Yeah, subject to check. I think on the quarterly contract, it's July 29th, I believe, is on or before July 29th, 2022 would be, and there is a contingent on this being approved by the commission. I would like to address Mr. Finley's role in this. Mr. Finley is a dispensary, apparently a dispensary owner, I've been told, but he's also a medical marijuana consultant. He actually worked for Kansas to find and acquire this property. So the initial contract was in his name. And then he has executed, which is a packet, a signed all of his rights and title interest in that purchase contracts.
Does that clear the concerns on that part? As far as he signed everything on?
I understand the intent, don't have any disagreement with anything he says. I guess my caution is this: what if the deal goes bad? What if they can't come up with the money? What if there's a problem with the title? What if there's something like that happen? Then you've got a situation where Mr. Finley's back involved in the deal, which you don't want to see happen. And so that's why I would say, let it be contingency. If you choose to approve it, let the contingency be, one is closing of the land deal, final closing so that they have legal title to the property. The other one, like I said, in one place she's called COO, Chief Operating Officer. Another place she's called Executive Officer. And then there's another document that in there and the explanation of the parties that lists somebody else as the Chief Executive Officer. And that's a narrative document we filed with the commission. So there's some confusion there, and I think it just needs to be tidied up. I don't want any of the owners to come back later. If something goes wrong, and inevitably something always does go wrong, they say, well, we never approved that person to do what she's done. That was done without our knowledge, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden we got another lawsuit, Attorney General can't defend.
On the point with or when another person was the CEO, that was the original section E of the application that we submitted 5 years ago. And there has been a change in the CEO since that time. So this is Randy Hernandez is the CEO of the company. She's the one that signed it here. As far as proposal goes, as far as contingent closing, probably we don't have any problem with that. We'd like to approve it.
Commissioner, do you guys have any questions?
Mr. Brown, what is the, I guess, if we do extend this out, are y'all operational right now? Are you staying where you're at before you move, or what's the condition on you getting out of the location? Are you going to be closed down for a while? Would you be able to operate through it, get all this stuff cleared up?
It's my understanding the intent is operate with this piece of property. Okay, to be built, a building, on this, 20,000 square foot building with 100 apartments. And mainly it's being done because, well, probably two reasons. I mean, because where they're at now, they became the dispensary. They like their own property. And also they just kind of outgrown what their space. They just need more space.
I guess you follow my question. Yeah, I just want to make sure you're not shut down. If we need to prolong this to clarify for the AG's office, to get some more documentation and, we don't want you to be, out of business. We're not in the business, but if you could continue that lease until we clarify everything up, till to sell the property in July.
Oh, yeah, check, I think we have maybe a year or so left on the lease.
Okay. That clear, where's the line?
Commissioners online, do you have any questions?
I do not.
I do not.
I do not.
I'll make a motion that we approve this contingent on the couple items that the AG's office has to clarify. As far as the sale of the land, hopefully the 29th. Let's clear up the CEO and the CEO if it's not already cleared up. I'm not waiting on Dorothy, but she might know more about that. But I would grant the grant transfer if we can get all these things worked out. I don't know how to really work that correctly, but
I don't either. So basically you're saying to approve a contingency
yes.
until the Attorney General's office's concerns are met. And once those two concerns, would you have two? To the sale and the CEO, COO, those two concerns. Okay. So we have a motion on the table to grant a transferable location contingent upon clearing up the CEO and the COO issue in the application and when the sale's approved.
Could I ask a question about as far as clearing up the CEO? Would you say an affidavit from her suffice for that? Or what is it?
I think the document calls for her to obtain the necessary documentation from the owners. Read that in that operating agreement. It's her responsibility to get whatever documents the commission required or any other entity required in order to transact business. So a signed statement by 50%, the 50% plus the owners, that she has the authority to do what she's doing. I'm sure she does, but the documentation's not there. Then I can suggest that the Attorney General's office certify that to the director, and then she can complete the paperwork for the authorization to change. Is that acceptable?
Yes.
I'd be glad to do that. The Attorney General's office would be glad to do that.
Okay. Is that different than the CEO and COO issue?
More allow me to use it.
Issue, and we can do that. That's what you.
Well, that's where, and I understand these folks did not draft that agreement, so that might be critical at all. One place it says that for the chief executive officer can make any major decisions, 50% plus one has to, 50% has to approve the action. In another place, it says in order to qualify for whatever transaction is going to happen, the chief executive officer will get the written approval of the owners, or the majority of the owners. In another place, it says that the chief executive officer has the authority to do anything that's necessary. So those are kind of conflicting provisions. So I think if the owners all sign something, yeah, she's good to go, whatever she writes is fine with us. I think that's perfectly fine.
Okay.
Is that good?
Yep.
So the motion on the table was approval of the transfer of location contingent upon, I'm gonna call it the CEO fix. And when the sale happens. And Kevin, Mr. Case made a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion on the table and a second. For the transfer of location contingent on the CEO issue and when the sale happens. So all in favor, say aye.
Can I, let me just clarify for the record that because this is a new construction, the permit will remain at the McConnell address until that structure is built and is signed off on and approved, meeting all the rules and requirements for ABC in operation. So there will not be a document presented to them with that new address until that construction is complete. Just so you all, and the inspection is completed.
Okay.
Do we restate all this motion?
Yes.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we accept the transfer. And I'm basically gonna leave it in the AG's office to, fix the CEO conflict there. Closing on July 29th or rough there, whenever that closing is on the new property. That there will be no more, I guess, how do you say it? The other owner that has another permit, so we clear all that up. And it's according to construction being complete with inspections, then you'll be granted your transfer. Okay? That's my motion.
All right, we have a motion on the table with all that, and, is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion on the table and a second, for the transfer location. All in favor, say aye.
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 The transfer location has been approved. All right, let's, move on down to change of ownership. You might as well. Let's go to the first one, permit 123.
Permit 123 Good Day Farm, Arkansas. They submitted a change of information form in lieu of a change of ownership. We have historically required a change of ownership form per the rules for this kind of transaction. They are seeking to change the licensee holder on the permit. There's no ownership percentage changes. It is a transfer of the title for a permittee. We do not have consent from any of the other members. We have consent from Regina Thurman and Alex Gray on the cover letter from the law firm, which essentially says I'm enclosed in this letter a change of information form, which outlines notice for the Arkansas Medical Marijuana Commission with respect to Good Day Farm. Does not say any specifics in that letter of what they're consenting to. The encompasses all the documents that are received.
Okay, so there's only, how many owners are in this thing?
Large number of owners. We were just seeking to change the name on the permit itself, Dr. Thurman to Alex Gray. I actually talked with Chip about a week and a half ago, and he told me that normally this would be done via transfer of ownership application. So we had some folks that were out of town, here's some time to submit those to the commission for that. And so we had a consent letter from both of the persons seeking to be engaged in the transaction, which is Alex and Dr. Thurman. Again, Alex just wants to be the name licensee. Dr. Thurman consent to roll off, but they're going to change to ownership per se. So Chip had informed me that our mechanism to handle that is actually a transfer of ownership application. And so we're happy to submit that to the commission.
Well, in my opinion, I think that we need to have all the documentation. on the change of ownerships. So if you don't have all of that, I would make a move to move this to the July meeting. Or I'll make a motion to move this particular change of ownership. Let's just schedule it for the July meeting until we can get all the documentation in.
I'll second that, because I hate to see something come up and somebody like that.
We have a motion on the table to move the change of ownership of permit 123 and a second to the July meeting. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. Permit 123, if you'll calendar for the July meeting. Let's move down to permit 145.
Permit 145 is Grassroots OPCO seeking to have a change of ownership. We provided you with the most recent documents that were submitted as of yesterday, warning for y'all to review.
I have not had time to review that. Well, I'll make a motion on permit 145 to move it to the July meeting.
I'll second.
We have a motion on the table and a second to move permit 145 to the July meeting. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, permit 145, we calendar for the July meeting. Move on down to permit 206.
Permit 206 is similar to the permit 123. They are seeking to do a change of the licensee with no change in ownership percentages. They submitted a transfer of ownership application along with consent by all the owners in the permitted location. They're seeking to change the licensee, that individual, from Larry Johnson to Brian Falls. We have consent from all the owners.
Was all the documentation, was it turned in pre the 14-day deadline?
Yes.
So there are no issues with this group. Attorney General's office, do you have any issues on this?
What's the name of the certificate? My index here doesn't use no.
Delta Cannabis Company.
No, there are no issues. I see.
Okay. Okay, Commissioners, do you have any questions?
I don't.
Seeing no questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we accept permit 206, Delta Cannabis change.
Second.
We have a motion on the table and a second to approve the change of ownership of permit 206. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
The change of ownership of permit 206 has been approved. Let's move down to permit 222.
Permit 222, Pine-Bluff Agroceuticals doing business as Hashing Company. We've received actually 2 applications for a change of ownership on this. The first one lists Michael Wilkins as the 100% owner on this entity. The second one has the breakdown of Michael Wilkins is 49% owner, and Teresa Wilkins is 51% owner on this entity, and they are seeking to transfer the ownership to Marcia Cole. They've also listed Pine Bluff Agroceuticals as having a management operation owned and operated by PB High Rollers LLC. This is the first that ABC has learned of this management company on their 21 and 19, 20, 21, and 22 renewals. There is no indication of a management company being listed, so this is the first we have seen of that in this application.
And when did you receive that?
We received the application, it was outside the 14 days.
Okay.
but we do not have a copy of any management agreements.
Okay, Commissioner, do you have any questions? Do we have anybody here for Pine Bluff Pharmaceuticals?
I'm here on their behalf, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
James.
Do you have anything to say about not turning in management company information?
Well, my understanding was that the management company was regarding Pine Bluff Agroceuticals. And there was some confusion initially because the permit is only in the name of Mike Wilkins, but they set up a licensed company that was owned 51% by his wife, Teresa, 49% by Mike Wilkins. And we submitted the request for the change in ownership of that entity. There's nothing else changed. Mr. Wilkins is ready. He and his wife have been owners since this inception. He's simply ready to exit the business and we're asking to transfer ownership to Marcia Cole in the permit and in the license company that owns the permit. Nothing else is changing. All of the operations on the ground and all management on the ground, nothing else is changing.
But we still require it.
So the renewal application requires a submission if we added a management company, a copy of that management agreement. And we are unaware, ABC and the NMC Commission is unaware of any of this agreement. In addition to that, the attestations on the back of the transfer of ownership application has been signed by Mike Wilkins, but we do not have his wife's signature to transfer ownership.
Well, Commissioners, do you have any questions? Commissioners, I think that we ought to stay consistent on what we've done so far, and I'll make a motion to move permit 222 to the July meeting until we get all of the paperwork done and completed.
I'll second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the table to move permit 222 to the July meeting. All in favor, say aye.
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 Will you calendar that one for the next meeting? All right, let's move on down to permit 245.
Permit 245 and Noah's Ark is a transfer of ownership. This is ownership interest that is being transferred is Marla Dwarfs, who has been in probate, and it is being transferred to her husband, Stephen Dwarf. We have owners have finally gotten all of the probate documents. The probate has been concluded. They provided us with all the probate documents. We've had it for over 20 days or more in advance. They submitted this to us, and so we have vetted Mr. Dwarf. He is clear on the ABC side to go forward.
Okay. Commissioners, do you have any questions? I'll make a motion to approve the change of our ownership for permit 245.
I'll second that.
We have a motion on the table and a second to approve the change of ownership for permit 245. All in favor, say aye.
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 The change of ownership for permit 245 has been approved. Let's move down to permit 272.
Permit 272, Greenlight Monticello. On this application, we've received documents last week to finalize this transfer of ownership. We need to note that the end name on the license is not Andrew Hood. It is actually Nikki Hood. And we do not have signatures by Nikki Hood transferring the ownership. In addition to that, we have also had a new owner listed on the ownership that has never been previously disclosed to the commission as having a 25% ownership of this entity. And I think until this transfer can take place, we have to investigate where the additional owner came on the ownership.
Agreed.
Commissioners, do you have any questions? Again, I think that we need to be consistent with what's going on with the rest of them. So I'll make a motion to move the change of ownership for permit 272 to the July meeting till we can get all the proper documentation.
I'll second.
Second.
We have a motion on the table and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, the we calendar permit 272 for the July meeting. And let's move down to permit 329.
Permit 329 is Dark Horse Medicinal seeking to a change of ownership. They want to add to their ownership. They provide us all of the documents except we are still missing the rights and requirements for 4 of the new members, and we have to have that to have that background checks.
Okay, we have one more. Commissioner, do you have any questions?
I'll make a motion that we, table 329 until July to provide the documentation.
I'll second. So we have a motion on the table to move permit 329 to the July meeting. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, we calendar for the July meeting. Okay, that concludes our agenda. Any comments or questions from the commissioners? I think our next meeting is July the 7th.
Yes, that's the first Thursday of the month.
Commissioners, I'll be out of the country on July 7th.
And I'll be out of state then as well.
I will be also.
Well, that makes it easy. What's when would be the best time for a July meeting?
Could we try the 14th?
You're out 14th of August. Okay. And is everybody okay with July 14th? It'll be a week later than we normally do.
Yeah, I'm good the 14th.
I am
Yes.
But yeah, y'all were talking at the same time. Commissioner Russell, are you good for the 14th?
Yes, I am.
Commissioner Mobley, you're good for the 14th?
I am.
Mr. Case, you're good? All right, so let's set the next meeting for July 14th at 4:30 p.m.
Sounds good.
Yeah, Commissioner Case, that's something he wants to do.
Director Chandler, what is going on with these incomplete applications? They realize, they understand the rules correctly. I just want this to be on the record that we're getting a lot of incomplete. You know, we've got, 6 out of this that are incomplete and not hitting the timeline. Not pointing at you, I'm just asking a question of what you're seeing out of this.
I think a lot of the times the applications is filed on the last day, on the very last day to file to make the meeting agenda, and then when we need supplemental documents because we find stuff, it creates the lapse in time.
So are they filing this stuff as a placeholder and then basically doing a big dump right before the meeting? I mean, is that what's happening, or is it?
I would say that on a majority of these, that they are filing stuff that we need a substantial amount of additional documents on it. Some of them are issues of trying to run down owners to get rights and requirements signed that should have been signed when they had the background checks done at the last case, so they did not. get those documents signed so that we would have them. But I would say a vast majority of them are substantial documents that we need to effectuate the change of ownerships. Because there's so much involved with a change of ownership and so many documents and so many aspects to look at that it takes time to go through those.
Put you at a disadvantage of staff, get that done overnight and get it out to us.
Okay, no more questions. Commissioners, do you have any questions or comments?
I do
Do
not.
not.
I'm good.
Seeing none, meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.
Let's have a
Thank
good day.
you.
This conference is no longer being recorded.